Hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to Lifecycle Management lecture. In the last lecture we explored versioning and how to enable versioning on a bucket. We then went in and we added a new version of a file and then deleted it. We then restored it and then we updated the file and looked at all the different versions that it created. And this, as you could see, even though we had the one file, in that particular example we had 3 versions of the files. And you do pay for what you use on Amazon S3. So if you've got 3 versions, you will be paying for 3 versions of the file. So it can get costly very quickly, and that's why Amazon introduced a thing called lifecycle management, which basically allows you to set up lifecycle management policies on the different versions or on your files, depending on what you choose. So lifecycle management policies can be enabled on buckets with or without versioning. It's important to remember that. So what we'll do in this lecture is we'll create a new bucket and we'll call it a Cloud Guru Finance bucket. Okay, so we've created a new bucket and we'll just go in here, and this is basically for our finance department to use. And maybe we'll create 2 folders. We'll create our accounting, and then we'll create another folder which might be our profit and loss statements, which is sensitive. Well, let's do payroll, for example. Sensitive information which we want in a separate folder. So right now the first thing we're going to go do is enable versioning on this bucket. So I'm going to click on buckets, click on my properties, go down to versioning, and we'll click enable, and we've now turned versioning on. What we also want to do is enable lifecycle management. So we'll go in here and add a role. And here we can either enable lifecycle management to the entire bucket, or we can add it to a specific folder. So in here we could do it for our accounting folder or our payroll folder. And that would enable lifecycle management just on that particular folder. But for argument's sake, we'll do the entire bucket. So we've got 2 options here: action on current value and on current version, or action on previous versions. So as you saw before, whenever you upload a file, it will create the first version, and then as it's updated, new versions will be created. So the current version is the most up-to-date file. The previous versions are previous versions of the file. So here on action on current file, we can say archive only, expire only, archive, then expire. We're going to click on archive. So basically with archive we're going to send an archive of the current version to Amazon Glacier after, let's say, 30 days. So basically once you put anything in the bucket, will be archived off to Amazon's Glacier storage class 30 days after the object's creation date, or after we apply this rule if we've only just enabled it. We could also do expire only. So we could say keep this keep this object in the bucket 30 days after its creation date, and then delete it. Don't send it off to Glacier, just delete it. And then we've also got the final option, which is archive then expire. So you could say archive this 30 days after the object's creation date and expire perhaps 45 days after its creation date. So to keep things simple, I'm just going to archive only. I'm going to do it after 30 days. And then actions on previous versions. I get the same options effectively. So I could archive my previous versions 30 days after its expiry date or its overwritten date. So every time I upload a new object to my bucket, I'm going to create a new version, and then the active version will become a previous version, and then I could say, okay, we'll archive that previous version after it's been overwritten 1 day after. But to keep things simple, what I think I'll do it 30 days after, well, let's do 1 day after its overwritten date. Okay, well, we just create a rule name. This is optional, but we'll call it my Cloud Guru Finance rule. And you can see action on current version, so we're going to archive to Glacier storage class 30 days after the object's creation date, and then any previous versions we're going to archive to Glacier storage 1 day after it's overwritten or expired. And there we go, we've now set up a lifecycle management policy on our aCloud Guru Finance bucket, and it will now automatically archive off any object that we create or overwrite in there 30 days after its creation date to Amazon Glacier. So you can see how useful S3 is. You can use it for object storage, you can use it, you can enable versioning control and use it for backups. You can integrate it with Storage Gateway Service, which is where you can have an on-premise device inside your office that replicates your files to the Amazon S3 service. You can also use it in reverse so that it keeps, the Storage Gateway keeps a cache of files from your AWS buckets on-premise, so that when you go to access them, you're actually accessing the cache rather than the S3 bucket itself. And you can also create lifecycle management policies so that you can easily set up a policy to stop your buckets from getting overwhelmed from all these different versions, as well as doing general data management. You don't have to have version control enabled to to have lifecycle management policies set up. You may just have a site where users log in and they upload pictures of themselves and it adds a watermark to those pictures. Now you probably don't want to store the original pictures for anything longer than a day because you will get charged for that. So maybe you want to delete the original pictures and just keep the watermark pictures. You can accomplish that through lifecycle management policies. So in the next lecture we will start to go through Amazon's CDN network and CloudFront and how it integrates with S3. But we've finished this lecture for today, so go ahead and go on to the next one. Thank you.